Hi, my name is Maddy Szmidt, and I am the festival coordinator of the Seattle Queer Film Festival. And I'm excited to have some filmmakers here from our Transcending Boundaries program, which is presented by the Transgender Media Portal. So we're going to have a little Q&A with them and talk about the films and what all they're up to. So let's introduce everybody. Summer, maybe you can go first.
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Summer Minerva, and I was in the Femme Power Productions film called Flourish. And I am an actor and a filmmaker and a teacher and a very extended multi-hyphenate. And I'm really excited to be here and super grateful for the Seattle Queer Film Festival for programming us this year. So hello, everybody, and thanks for being here.
All right.
I could go next. Hi everyone, my name is Viv. I'm one of the development team members from 3 Bill Cinema. So I'll be working with Maddy today to help facilitate the conversation. My pronouns are they, them, theirs.
Heather?
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Heather María Ács, and I am the writer-director of Flourish. I run a company called Femme Power Productions. We're a queer film production company and media company. I am thrilled to be here with Summer Minerva, who's representing one of the many trans and gender nonconforming members of our cast. I identify as cis, so I want to put that out there, and I'm here to show up as an ally. The film is about a drag queen and a young couple who are stumbling through non-monogamy, and they are all meeting up at a queer drag show and dance party. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please do and enjoy. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Max. I'm the creator of The Ritual of the Sex Magick Warriors, the film in the program. It's a film following this underground sort of society of rollerbladers trying to take up space in their city and survive, essentially, through rituals of care. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So I just want to start off by asking everyone, like, how you got the inspiration to do the film that we're showing, sort of how it came to be, how you found your story and your actors and everything. I'd just love to hear about that. And maybe the team from Flourish can go first.
Sure. I'll lead off, and then I'm going to pass it right over to Summer. So the inspiration, the casting, everything all comes from my intersectional queer communities. I believe that everyone deserves to see themselves represented in media, and, you know, as per usual for queer folks, and again, all of our intersecting communities, we have to do it ourselves, right? So I transitioned from live community, queer community events organizing over to making short films. Summer was actually in my first film as well, called Flush. So Summer and I are in queer community together, in queer artistic community, and is one of my most favorite actors. And so when I write scripts, sometimes I will specify in terms of gender, race, ability, etc., because I want a certain level of representation, but I won't necessarily specify down to every tiny detail, right? So for example, in my first film, I knew I wanted a character of trans feminine representation. And other than that, it was pretty open. And so once I knew I wanted to cast Summer, then I started to sort of write to her as a character. And so, you know, Summer can speak for herself in terms of like her fluid, ebbing and flowing magical gender. And so once Summer was cast and in the film, that's the gender of that character became the gender of Summer. And so that's how things work a lot in terms of my storytelling and production. And I would love to pass it over to Summer to talk about the experience of casting and storytelling in our versions of queer cinema.
Thank you, Miss Heather María. Yeah, so the two films that we made together, Flesh and Flourish, both felt like slices of life inside of our world, but made really beautiful and told really truthfully. And so on the one hand, for an outsider looking in, the world might seem really magical and really almost even far-fetched, but the truth is that the stories are actually drawn from our lives. And so, I mean, it makes sense that we are kind of portraying versions of ourselves and representations of ourselves in ways that we even want to show up in the world, but don't always get to. And so inside of the process of being an actor in these films, particularly in Flourish, we really were asked to and allowed to and even expected to show up as our collaborative creative selves, so that we're not showing up inside of these kind of normative hierarchies, but actually are getting to co-create and truly collaborate together. And so that's where I think the magic really happens. Jokes that we're cracking in between takes are then being written to the script and making things feel even more real. So all of that being said, it's been a really fabulous journey, and I also know that it's just the beginning. So yeah.
Yes, definitely just the beginning. There's much in store. So follow FemPower Productions on social media, follow Summer Minerva, and stay tuned, because I'll just say we have a series in the works. So stay tuned for that.
Well, I am, for one, very excited to see that. Maybe at Seattle Queer Film Festival one day. And then Maximillian, did you want to go next?
Sure, I can talk a bit about my process. The Ritual of the Sex Magick Warriors is my first short film. I'm like a multimedia artist first, and I've worked in video before, but this project was the first time that one of my projects fit into the category of a short film that was in a way less experimental than other video works I've done. And so I guess there's the concept behind it developed in my head about a year or two in advance of the creation of the project, and thankfully I was able to make it happen with my community and just people around me. My roommates, friends, and partners were all excited and willing to be a part of this project that had been sort of in the works for a while, and yeah, I was happy to be able to do it with them. The main sort of the parting point of it was experiencing the city in Toronto, in my case, as a rollerblader. That's my main mode of transportation, and I've noticed two specific types of violence that I experience as a rollerblader. One is sort of slurs every now and then from people that sort of identify me as queer. And the other one is dogs just being attacked by pets that are very unfamiliar with rollerbladers, and that just on leash or off leash will very, very often attack me. So I wanted to make this film to sort of transcend a little bit that narrative and take a bit control of some of the violence that was happening in a fiction that used the two colors. The whole short is color coded with pink and teal, which are the two colors originally taken away from the pride flag, that I found very interesting on a conceptual level, and I've used in many of my other works. As you can see in my studio, most things are color coded that way. And also there are the two colors of the trans flag. And so that, along with the lighting and things just melded together organically after that. But yeah, that's the basis of it. So go see it if you haven't yet. Thanks.
Thank you all for that. So we do have some specific questions for y'all as well. So we want to ask Flourish specifically, what was your intention in showing a span of different growth through the different queer couples representing?
I'm sorry, you cut out for me for 1 second. Could you repeat the question?
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, so the question was, in your film, you were showing a span of different growth with different queer couples. So what was your intention in showing that?
Sure. So again, one of the many goals, right, is to, let me start another way. So like Summer was saying, we're a part of these most fabulous, magical queer communities, right? That again, maybe to an outsider, in fact, I know to some outsiders, I'm a part of different writing groups and whatnot. I'm doing a Sundance writing group right now. And I love the feedback from my non-queer cohort, because they just love the characters and love the world. And I love that because that's my world, right? Like, this is my crew. These are my friends. Like, these are the people that I get to live real life with, right? And so again, because we're not being represented in media, then I said, well, I want to see my fabulous friends on screen. And also, I feel like one of the ways that pushback happens in terms of mainstream media is that, we hear, oh, there's not enough trans talent, there's not enough queer talent, there's not enough people with professional training. So first of all, I also work with non-actors, and non-actors can be amazing. And if you're a good director, then I think that you can work with non-actors. So I'll just put that out there. Two, there are so many professional, trained, been working themselves so hard for so long, queer, trans, non-binary, intersectionally identified representation across race, body, ability, etc. out there. It's just a question of whether or not you're looking. So again, for me, in the worlds that I'm traveling in, right, they're all around me, right? So I'm just saying, oh, this talented person I want to work with here, this talented person I want to work with there, right? So there is both a very specific intention in terms of casting, and therefore the writing, in terms of writing across gender. And again, this is a part of the world that I and we, my cast members, are traveling in. And I appreciate what Summer said earlier in terms of collaborating. I really do love collaborating and working with my cast to say, okay, well, here's what I wrote, how would you say this, or how would the two of you, I love the scene in Flourish. I love it so much in terms of the scene that happens with Summer and Justin, with Cristal, with the main character. I think it's such an intimate scene. And those two had worked together as actors before. I met them sort of around the same time. And I think that scene is so powerful because they are also in community together, that they also have worked together on a regular basis, and that they have this love and affinity for each other that is beyond the page. And in terms of the genders of the couple, and then the other character coming in to explore non-monogamy, so those characters are representing more of non-binary femme characters. And those are an example where I didn't write any gender specifically into those characters. If I think about it, all three of them, it was very gender non-specific. I knew that I also wanted representation in this film and in all my films in terms of race, right? So I want there to always be an intersection. And the reason is not just about, it is about representation, but it's not about checking boxes. It's also about, again, these people that I care about very deeply and that I believe in, and wanting them to have opportunities to play characters who are interesting to them, who are representative of who they are in terms of identity. So in terms of casting, right, I cast one person and then another and another, and Poppy Lou is amazing, Delphine Cano is amazing, Oscar Gantua is amazing. And it just so happens that all of those people Two of them identify as femme and non-binary, and Oscar identifies as trans, or at least the last time I spoke with them, because right gender is fluid. So I've even considered putting pronouns in my credits, but pronouns are always changing. Identity is always changing. So I've never done that. But yeah, so that's, again, a little more about how I work. Summer, what do you think in terms of, is there anything standing out to you in terms of what we've been talking about?
Yeah, I really love the scene that I'm in Flourish. The main scene that I'm in, where me and Crystal, or my character, and sorry, there's the bug. My character and Crystal are together, and we're actually sharing intimacy. It's not a sexual kind of intimacy, but it's a rare kind of intimacy that you see between close friends that are both, non-binary or trans, trans-ish, trans-femme-ish. And I really feel that, though, in that moment of us coming together and me supporting the character and lifting her up, we see something that actually is very appropriate for the programming that we're in. You see a transcendence of identity. It's not about anything other than, like, my character coming in and seeing that my friend needs support and needs love, and for whatever the backstory is in their relationship, like, they have a certain kind of rapport that that demonstrates that. And I think what's powerful about the world that we're creating inside of these very short films, like, people who are not filmmakers don't understand that a short film that they watch for 10 minutes took 5 months. But inside of the 10-minute slice of life that we're giving, you can feel into the life that happened before and the life that's going to happen after, because of the established connection that was there. And I want to give a prop to Heather, actually. I want to give a prop to Heather, actually, because I actually never did work with Justin before that. And we knew each other as friends, but
I did not know that.
We knew each other. We were had gone to acting classes together, and I saw him working before, but we never actually even worked in the same scene. So there was a certain kind of comfort and rapport, and also rigor. Being on set was rigorous. Like, it wasn't just a party. It was rigorous because we had quality work that we needed to bring forward. So I just felt like when I feel like when I watch that scene again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can really feel the love that I was feeling for this person, and inside of that safety and creative container.
Awesome. Thank you both. It's so interesting that, like, you can still be learning stuff about your film even so long later. I want to ask Max a question. Your film is definitely more on the experimental or abstract side. You said that you had some experience in experimental video. And I just wanted to ask, like, why you had chosen more of an abstract or experimental tone to represent the trans experience.
Thanks. Well, I guess I can say, because in my mind, the film was already so filled with concepts. Like, it was conceptually sound, and it had, every shot had a reason, and sort of an afterthought that even including dialogue, for example, seemed unnecessary because there was already so much going on visually and physically. So, I mean, I chose to work that way because it's, again, what felt natural to me, and what I had access to in terms of my community of my peers and people around me and friends. So in that way, I'm really thankful that, like, friends wanted to work with me, and they trusted my vision, and they actually were excited to participate in this project that I'd been working on for a while. In a way, even though it is quite experimental, maybe the reason I feel like maybe the one sentence that could tie the narrative together is, and I also realized this after, it wasn't really until a few months after finishing the project that I realized really what I'm trying to do here is sort of portraying the sentence, "An army of lovers can never be defeated," which is a very queer sentence, and it's associated to many different people and sort of concepts. But here in Toronto, it's been very associated to Will Monroe, a queer artist, and in the music scene also. And so in that film with the role bidders, literally what is happening is, if they, like, an army of lovers will never be defeated if they succeed in their rituals that may or may not be resurrecting rituals, really. So that's why the sort of cliffhanger at the end could make you think cyclically, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know if you have any other specific questions.
I love that army of lovers can never be defeated. That's amazing. I think that both of the films really sort of focus on community, which I think is interesting, especially in a queer and trans context. You can both maybe say something about how community is important to your work, or how you try and infuse community into your films?
Summer, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, I can start us. Well, I think what's at the essence of the films that I really like to watch are films that have really compelling relationships at their core. Relationships that make me question and make me understand something deeper about myself. And so those relationships for me can be interpersonal, they can be intrapersonal, and then they also can be obviously in the framework of a community. Inside of Flourish, you get to witness a web. Witness a web of relationships. Each one has its own shade, its own conflicts, its own differences. And inside of the community in the film, you get to see different sides of different characters. And I think that's really representative of who we are in the world, because who we are with different people brings out different sides of us. And so I think getting to see characters in film that are interacting with different people, and you're getting to witness the nuances in the exchanges, I think it's a very rewarding experience for the viewer. And yeah, I mean, and an army of lovers can never be defeated. When we're going to set to shoot, and thankfully as an actor, I don't need to show up 2 days before and stay there 3 days after and spend 4 months in the posts room. But if we are still an army of lovers, because we are coming together for passion, we're coming together because we have business to do, as much as it is love and creativity and art. We are here to work together to move our culture forward. So the community is reflected inside of the story, and also with what you don't see behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes me think, Summer, about just the set protocol in general and some of the feedback that I received there. I was also recently on another set. I work as an intimacy coordinator, and I was on the set for a Hulu movie, and female director, woman of color. She was just so amazing. The vibe on the set was so positive. Everyone was so nice. And I remember when we were shooting Flourish, because again, I work with a mix of people who may be new to filmmaking and people who are really established industry professionals. And I remember receiving the feedback from a lot of the crew specifically, saying, wow, this was such a positive experience. And, you know, no one was yelling at me. No one was pressuring me, you know, and sort of describing these different experiences that they had on other commercial sets or, you know, more, you know, industry as opposed to independent sets. And, you know, again, I'm mostly working in underground art making. So, you know, in some ways I was a little bit surprised, but not surprised. And so it's making me think about, you know, also the master's tools can never dismantle the master's house, right? And so not only how are we redefining and recreating storytelling, but how are we also redefining and recreating the process, right? So again, the process being collaborative, the process being not hierarchical in the same way. Of course, we all have to have our roles. And so therefore, you know, in order to streamline decision making and to be efficient, because you have to be, or for me, I'm a Capricorn, so we need to be efficient on set because of budget, right? But that doesn't mean that we don't have time to have a conversation, that we don't have time to, again, briefly and intentionally check in about this or that there's not time to have fun. I mean, we have fun on set, right, Summer? Like, we have fun, right? So, you know, I am not interested in making work where the set environment is not also, at least in moments, joyful, right? So I'm not saying the pre-production and the post-production was always joyful, but there are so many moments of joy. It is a grind. It is hard work. I am exhausted, honestly, today. But I am so full of joy right now, just being here with you and listening to your all's input and hearing Summer and seeing Summer, who I haven't seen in a long time. And so it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
For me, I guess in terms of community, what I really wanted to show with this piece was the, you know, contrary to what the title might make you think, I was going towards sensuality rather than sexuality. The rituals of care that this group of people are trying to perform to survive the harshness of their city, whatever that may be. You know, it could be abstracted into other concepts, but really that's what it is. They're trying to survive a city that is harsh to them as people. And so there's the fight between visibility and invisibility, and the strength in stealth and remaining either quiet or hidden, but then taking up space in the street and rollerblading. Sort of that tension is played with. But the sense of community that I wanted to portray was touch, like the rituals of touch, of sensuality, of embraces are really, I mean, that's really how I find power and energy. And so, I mean, yeah. And so things have been a bit harder with the pandemic, obviously, but I'm glad I'm getting to share all this pre-pandemic work.
Thank you for sharing all of that. I think community is so important for queer folks, you know, to have that network of support, and especially to have like representation in film. Because I know for myself, I first kind of discovered my sexuality through by seeing folks with like diverse sexuality on films. Because if I didn't see that representation, I might not never even know I had the ability to explore or find the words. So I really appreciate, you know, y'all putting this out there and having all this diverse representation out there and letting people know and get, you know, a slice into what queer lives and queer identities are and look like. So yeah, so before we close out, we have one last question for y'all. Is what are y'all up to now? Like, are y'all still working on new projects? You know, like still staying connecting with other folks? Like, what is happening? We want to stay up to date with y'all.
I guess the project that I'm working on now is sort of a companion experimental piece, actually, to that the ritual of the Sex Magick Warriors. And a few weeks ago, I had the chance to work in installation and, you know, translating things online as most galleries are closed. I'm working on sort of transferring this installation sculptural piece using pet crates to sort of try to contain and charm maybe some of the violence that I experienced from dogs. into something else, into a transformation, including another ritual or magic or something else. Yeah.
I've been working for the past 3.5, almost 4 years on an autobiographical documentary called Summer Within. And it's about my journey of searching for belonging through the third gender group of Southern Italy called the Femminili, as an Italian-American queer person. So it's a feature. We're kind of in the middle of post right now. We're going to be submitting. Started already. I'm really happy. It's very personal. And yeah, please find me. You can find me on my Instagram. The handle's there. And or once you go there, you can find the other handle to the film, which is called Summer Within. So I'm super excited about that and starting, but not quite yet, sighing in relief. But I'm not in the clear yet. Still have a bunch more work to do.
Yes, please follow Summer and support her work. That the project that she's talking about is amazing. I feel so lucky that I've been able to see little bits and pieces over the years. And, you know, if you got some coin, throw it that way. Summer can use it. Again, you know, find her on the Instagram and support trans filmmakers. So in terms of my work, you know, we are working right now on sort of, you know, it's two-pronged, right? So the goal is to either make a third short film to complete a 3-part anthology series based on these stories and characters while simultaneously working on a series. So I have many versions of a pilot, and it's drawing from the characters that are featured in my first film, Flush, as well as Flourish, which is here. Both actually played Seattle Queer Film Festival, so thanks always for your support. You can find me at Fem Power Productions on all social media. And if you'd like to watch my first film, Flush, that is available on my website at fempowerproductions.com, as well as some other amazing short films. One of the other projects I did during quarantine is I launched Fem Power TV, where I curated a series of queer short films, going to all of these festivals and seeing all this amazing work. There's so many short films that I would love to support and promote. So there's a really innovative and intersectional lineup of short films on my site. Again, fempowerproductions.com. I particularly love Femme Queen Chronicles, which is an all-Black trans female cast and creators coming out of Detroit. So follow them and support their work. Aya Simone is one of the creators. She's amazing. I always love to shout her out. Find her on the Instagrams and social media. So you can check out FemPower TV for more amazing short films. And please follow my work. And if you like my films and these characters, you know, send me a note, send me some love, and let me know if we made a series, would you tune in? So, and thanks also to the folks who are putting comments in the various chats. We see you and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm so looking forward to seeing all of your new projects soon, maybe next year, hopefully, maybe in person, hopefully. And I just want to thank you all for coming today and for showing your films here. We appreciate you. And yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, everybody. Stay
Thank
well.
you for making it possible for queer, non-binary, trans, and all the spectrum to be able to share their work. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks.